So here's the intro of how to make carbonara. Here are all the ingredients. Basically, the first thing is you have a special type of cheese, which is Romano cheese. You can find that pretty often in the store. If you can't, for some reason, you can use Parmesan. Now, when it comes to the meat, basically the authentic one uses what is called guanciale, which is a special type of pork meat, specifically the cheek. And so it's very fatty. As you can see, it has a lot of fat. That's the authentic type. It's very hard to come by. I find it at Wegmans, which is a store nearby. But if you can't, another option would be diced prosciutto if you can find it. You can also find what is called speck, or lastly, pancetta. That would be the authentic type of meat for Italian. If you can't find any of those, then anything equivalent to like bacon would suffice. Just it's hard to cut bacon in comparison. And then you would use 2 eggs for 1 person, and then spaghetti, of course. Here's the next step. Essentially, you put a pot of water on the stove and put salt and let it boil. You have to make sure that it's high enough so that the whole spaghetti can fit, because you're not supposed to break the spaghetti. And then when it comes to the meat, the pork, you essentially put oil, optionally, and then you put the prosciutto or guanciale, and then you let it fry at about low to medium heat, and let it sit for about 4 minutes. Now here's the third step. This is how you make the cheese sauce. So first thing you do is you take the egg and you just get the yolk. If you've never done this, I'll show you how to get the yolk. Essentially, you crack the egg and then split it in half. I'm sorry, I can't really show it on the camera. I'll do this. And then basically you put the yolk in and out until it's only the yolk. I'll do it again so it's easier to see. And then, okay, so this, okay. In this case, I messed up a little bit, but you get the idea. For the next step, essentially, all you do is you take the cheese and you put several spoonfuls. In this case, I know that it's going to be a lot, so I'm just going to put the whole jar in this case. And basically, what you do is you just mix the eggs. The yolk and the whites can be used for something else, or you can throw it away, whatever you want to do. And you basically mix it until it becomes kind of like a sticky. And if it's sticky, then it's good enough. And then optionally, you can also add an extra egg. And that's the next step. So here's the progress. Basically, this is what it looks like when it's been crispy and it's off at this point. And what you do next is basically you add pepper, a lot of pepper, black pepper. And then what you do is you put aside a cup, a measuring cup, and basically when the pasta is finished, you take this and you scoop up a little bit of the pasta water. Basically, the pasta water mixed with the pasta will make the water very starchy, and the starch will make the sauce creamy. And essentially, the eggs won't be cooked necessarily. It's mostly just the boiling water, and because if you cook the eggs, what ends up happening is it becomes scrambled. And then once the pasta boils, you drain the pasta in a strainer, assuming you save some of the water, and then you put the pasta inside the pan. making sure that the flame is off. So here's the final step. So after you strain the pasta, you put it in the pan, and then you put the egg mixture in, making sure it's off, just so you know. And then you just start mixing, and you mix until the egg mixture is all over the spaghetti. And then what you do is you add a little bit, just a little bit of that pasta water I mentioned. You don't want to add too much, because if you do, then it becomes too liquidy. And the starch water just makes, cooks a little bit, the eggs, just a tad, and makes it extra creamy, as if it was almost like you were using whipped cream. And then once it's been mixed like so, you then put it on the plate, and that's it. If you want, you can add more cheese, but I don't think you need to. Other options you can do is you can add, if you want to make it more healthy, you can add like basil, parsley, or even zucchini. And you cook the zucchini at the same time you cook the prosciutto, if you wanted to do it that route. But this is the authentic carbonara, and yeah, that's basically it.